Good evening. I declare the Ordinary Council meeting of the 10th of December 2024 held in Council Chambers at Level 2, 388 Hay Street, Subiaco, open at 5:35pm. Welcome councillors, staff, members of the public and the media. On behalf of the City, I acknowledge the Whadjuk Noongar people as the traditional custodians of the land we're meeting on this evening, and I recognise their ongoing connection to this place. I'll take attendances now, and we've got a single councillor on approved leave. That's Councillor De Vries. We've also got two councillors attending electronically with prior approval. Welcome to Councillor Powell and Councillor White. Thanks for joining us. And we've got 5 councillors and a mayor here in person, so welcome to you all. We've got the entire executive leadership team here in person, so welcome to the 5 of you, and we'll take attendances from any other staff as and when needed as the meeting progresses, but welcome to you all. Are there any leave of absence requests this evening? Councillor Kosovich.
Thank you, Mayor, and my leave of absence is for the coming year, and that is from the 12th of May to the 14th of June, please.
Thank you. Do I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Jones, thank you, and Councillor O'Connor. We'll be voting by show of hands this evening. All those in favour? Okay, the leave is approved unanimously. Thank you. If there's no other applications for leave, we'll move on. There were no public questions taken on notice. Disclosures. Are there any disclosures of interest this evening? Not sure there will be. Okay, we'll move through. So just confirming there were no public questions taken on notice previously, so we'll move on to public question time. It looks like we've got 2 questions, both submitted by Marie Rack of Bedford Avenue in Subiaco. Ms. Rack.
Good evening, everybody. So my first question is, and they both relate to item C3, policy reviews, and policy, so it states, policy 1.1, code of conduct, attachment 1, in brackets, is recommended for repeal as it is legislatively redundant. Council endorsed the City's Code of Conduct for council members, committee members and candidates at the Ordinary Council meeting held on 20 April 2021, in brackets item C11. It's the Code of Conduct for council members, committee members and candidates. So under Division 2 of the City's Code of Conduct, the principles of personal integrity, relationship with others, and accountability all use the word should. My question is, what are the specific standards of behaviour these principles are measured against, and where are those standards available for all stakeholders to access?
Whose microphone's feeding back? Councillor Powell, I can see 2 windows up for you. If you could just make sure that they're both muted, that'd be great. Okay. No, I think we'll answer them one at a time. Okay, so the wording you're asking about, just to be clear, is found in our current Code of Conduct, whereas what we're doing tonight is repealing a legislative redundant Code of Conduct. The wording that you've asked about is based on standing wording that's found in a model code of conduct that you'd find set out in Local Government Model Code of Conduct Regulations 2021. So they're not our words. We operate in a highly legislated space and we play by the rules that we're given. My answer to you is that you don't just focus on discrete words like the word should. You read the Code of Conduct as a whole and you interpret it accordingly. The City of Subiaco is working with the same language as local governments across the state, and I dare say we're doing it better than most, but that's neither by the by. What I am on record as saying is that I'm not particularly impressed by the state government's local government or planning reforms, because my view is that you can't legislate your way to good local government. I suggest you have a read of the Local Government Act, have a read of the latest local government reforms and future tranches of reforms, and I hope you'll agree with me. But for the more detailed, technical, clause-by-clause answer, I'll ask Director Corporate Services to answer the question.
All good, thank you, Mayor. And that's a good clarification. We're not actually repealing our code of conduct. We're repealing a policy which just states that we will have a code of conduct. But it seemed that you understood that from your question. And also a good point that our code of conduct is essentially, it incorporates everything from the mandated content from the code of conduct that is mandated by the Local Government Act. So in terms of the content of the model code itself, you'll see that there are a number of divisions in the Code of Conduct. So there's Division 2, 3 and 4. So it starts off, you know, apart from Division 1, which is just definitions, that kind of thing. Division 2 outlines the principles, which you have spoken to in your question, and they're partially just that. So they are the principles by which council members are expected to behave. Division 3 of the Code of Conduct then provides some more detail around further requirements relating to council members' behaviour that then tie back to those principles that are outlined in Division 2. So, for example, just one example, in relation to personal integrity, Clause 8 provides that a council member must only publish material that is and make public statements that are factually correct and not misleading. So that's just one example. Another example would be if you go to Division 4, that then provides further prescription as to council members' conduct, and that those conduct rules also tie back to the principles. So, for example, under Clause 18, a council member must not make improper use of their office for personal gain. So I guess what it kind of all says is that the council members' behaviour can be measured against the further various clauses in the Code of Conduct. There are various other requirements of council members which correlate to the principles which are available directly in the Local Government Act 1995. Some of those entail penalties. Basically, the code itself is a good resource regarding the main standards, and our Code of Conduct is available on our website for anybody to access, and it seems like you've probably done that as well. And the full Local Government Act 1995 is also available for anyone to access on the Legislation WA website.
Thank you, Director. Ms. Rack, your second question.
Thank you. So question 2 refers to the Code of Conduct for council members, committee members and candidates. Under Contents, Division 3, Behaviour, Point 8, Personal Integrity, and Point 9, Relationship with Others. My question is, how is the impact and effectiveness of the City's Code of Conduct being assessed in terms of measuring behaviour? What are the indicators that show you the progress and outcomes? And who and how are you sharing the findings and insights with all stakeholders?
Thank you. We know how we're going because we consult with our community. We do that every year through the benchmarked community scorecard. And we know, well, you can shake your hands or you can listen to the answer. We know that we're doing better than we have been for at least 10 years based on those scores, and that includes in the areas of governance by the city and the mayor and councillors, the leadership shown by the mayor and councillors. We're currently consulting as part of our new council plan where the city is actually going out to the community and doing drop-in centres and consulting at things like the farmers markets and night markets. We're collecting feedback from the people we represent. And we speak to people informally too. So I can say with reasonable confidence that we're tracking pretty well. Come to one of our events perhaps, speak to a councillor, speak to a staff member, and you'll see how everyone's going. But look, maybe I'm wrong. But if I'm wrong, where are the emails? Where are the angry emails? Where are the packed out annual electors meetings of days gone by? Where are all the sensational headlines in the local paper? They're not there because we're doing well. We're doing well and we're implementing the Code of Conduct. But like I said in my previous question, you can't legislate your way to success in local government. We are in the governance game, and like any governing organisation, we need to exercise authority, and we need to do so in a way that promotes a virtuous cycle of trust, candour and respect. It can be easily broken, but I think the greatest protection against that is good old-fashioned peer pressure, which each one of these councillors shows every time that they turn up to a council meeting. So we know how we're going based on real-life experience, and if I've got that grossly wrong, we have elections every 2 to 4 years, so that's the way you sort these things out. Director Corporate Services, what would a senior local government officer say to this question?
Thank you, Mayor. I think I would say, first of all, that you're absolutely right that one of the very important things that we do is consult our community in terms of their perceptions. And, these things are never black and white in terms of perceptions of integrity, but it is really important that we understand what the community thinks. And so we do have an annual community scorecard survey, which provides everybody with the opportunity to provide feedback on the city's services, facilities and programs. And the scorecard also includes questions regarding the city's governance, and the survey results are all available on the city's website. In addition to that, so going back to the formal governance speak, there are governance mechanisms to ensure that local governments, there's accountability as well. So as outlined in the Code of Conduct, anybody can make a complaint if they feel that a council member is not upholding the behavioural requirements of the code. The council is then required to make a finding in regards to any alleged breach and decide whether or not to put in place an action plan to address the council member's behaviour. You also asked about measurement. So if the council member fails to implement an action plan, this constitutes a minor conduct breach, which is then reportable to the local government standards panel. And there are a number of other things which can also result in a minor breach, which goes to the panel. And there is a register maintained by the Department of Local Government, Sports and Cultural Industries on their website, which can show you all of the minor breaches of councils basically since reporting on that came into effect, and that register will show you that the city has not had a minor breach since 2020. So I hope that helps.
Thanks, Ms Wollaston, and thank you, Ms Rack, for your questions. We'll move through the agenda. There's no public statements this evening, and as I understand it, there's a late petition. Councillor Jones, you've got a petition that you'd like to table this evening. Do you want to read it or shall I? Oh gosh, it's a long one. Okay. To Mayor David McMullen, we, the undersigned residents of Subiaco, respectfully petition against the closure of the pedestrian crossing on the Fremantle line between Baggett Road and Stubbs Terrace, which newspaper reports suggest is impending, and they're quoting the Post on the 17th of August and the 24th of November 2024. They go on to state their reasons as should be the case in any formal petition submitted to the city. And then they go on to say that we, the undersigned, strongly recommend against this closure. We request for the City of Subiaco Council to address this matter with PTA, with the request for more information and consultation with the community, and inform the community about the outcome of the conversations with the PTA. Thank you, Councillor Jones. That petition's presented to Council by a number of signatories, with the lead petitioners being John Guilfoyle and Evelyn Masco. So we'll take that as duly submitted, and we'll handle the petition in accordance with our meeting procedures. Thank you. Okay, I will now look for confirmation of minutes of previous meetings. We've got a single set of minutes, being those of the Ordinary Council meeting of the 19th of November 2024. Can I have a mover and a seconder to accept the minutes? Councillor Burns, thank you. And Councillor Jones, I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? Excellent. Those minutes are carried unanimously, so well done. Okay, a quick announcement. It's the final one for the year, and if there's a motto I've lived by, it's to never let a good award go unmentioned. So I will mention that the city was highly commended at the Most Accessible Communities WA Awards last week at a ceremony held at the City of Perth Council Chambers. We were nominated for our accessible services and events, and those include sensory rhyme time, dementia-friendly library services, and the Sunset at Subi concerts, which include an Auslan interpreter at each performance. Those awards are run by the Regional Capitals Alliance WA in conjunction with the Department of Communities, Local Government and Sports and Cultural Industries, and the WA Local Government Association. Amongst those in attendance was Don Punch, MLA, the Minister for Disability Services. So great recognition for our community and cultural services staff who are doing their bit to make the city accessible for everyone. And now, at the risk of sounding like my 6-year-old son at the start of school holidays, it is the last OCM of the year, so there's a tangible feeling of festivity in the air, although you might not know it with the quiet gallery and the no doubt limited number of people watching at home. But it is a good feeling to have got to the last OCM of the year and to have not only made it, but to have done so much. But now it's time to think about what Christmas in the city of Subiaco might entail. One of my favourite Christmas events is always the start of the Sunset at Subi concert series. It's a free concert series that runs through December and into January, and it always starts with Christmas carols at Lake Julbup. I'm looking forward to attending that and opening that on the 22nd of December. You can also, anytime now, look at the Subiaco Twilight Trail with the installations of lights all along places like not only Rockaby Road, but also Onslow Road in Shenton Park, where we've got a spectacular lit up owl joining the host of other lights this year. So that's definitely worth checking out between now and Christmas, if not a little bit after as well. I think the most exciting thing for people at the city of Subiaco, at least, would be the impending launch of the Christmas video. I think there's going to be a sneak peek for staff tomorrow at an all-staff briefing, and I think that'll probably drop online in about a week's time. Amongst other people, the CEO and I joined the filming, and we're hoping to do a little bit better than we did for Plastic Free July 2023. But look, on that note, I'd like to thank all of you councillors. OCMs are just the tip of the iceberg, really. Anyone who's ever been on council or worked with councils would know that. You turn up 12 times a year and cast your vote, but there's emails, there's phone calls, there's conversations in between that, there's workshops and there's briefings. And for those of you who are particularly diligent, there's tasks teams that we now do for special city requirements. And we've got things like the CEO performance review and even the client advisory group, where we're having a number of meetings to choose an architect and inform the instructions given to them for the purpose of developing a new facility at 241 Rockaby Road. So there's always a lot to be done. I really take my hat off to those of you who turn up every week and also sometimes in between. And like I've said a number of times, the success that we enjoy in the city is only a result of the parts doing, working as they should. So thank you, councillors. Thank you, staff. If you haven't won an award this year, there's always 2025, but we know who the real engine rooms are. Governance team, that they might be one of them. Possibly self-just someone's got to compile the report. Someone's got to set the microphones up. So we thank you for turning up to our meetings every month. So Merry Christmas to you all. Let's get through the meeting, and let's hope for no spot fires over December and January, and we'll catch up again late January, early February. Okay, time for some decisions. Beginning with the non-block vote. We've got a possible on-block vote that would consist of items C1, C2, C3, C4 and 13.1. which for those with a careful eye, 13.1 is actually a confidential item, but if there's no amendments or alternatives for any of these items and there's no special voting requirements, which there's not, there's no reason why we can't deal with them all in one go. But did anyone want to pull any of those items out from the on-block vote? Excellent. I'll look for a mover and a seconder for the on-block vote. Councillor Kosovich, thank you. Councillor Johnston, thank you for seconding. I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour of the on-block item? Thank you, councillors. The on-block vote is carried unanimously, which means that we've just decided all of those as per the officer recommendations without debate. Just for the record, I'll confirm what item 13.1 is. And what we just recommended, resolved in relation to 13.1 was as follows. First, that on the basis that DPLH grants the city a suitable management order at 11 John 23rd Avenue, Mount Claremont, WA, part of the vested land is leased to Electricity Networks Corporation trading as Western Power, consistent with the terms contained in this report and otherwise on terms acceptable to the City. And secondly, the Chief Executive Officer is authorised to execute any documents, deeds and agreements necessary to give effect to this resolution. So that was 13.1, and of course C1 to C4 were as per the published agenda. Well, councillors, there were no elected member motions submitted prior to the meeting. There's no urgent business of an urgent nature that I've been made aware of. We've just skipped the confidential section of the meeting, which means, happily enough, I can declare the meeting closed. And I declare the Ordinary Council meeting of the 10th of December closed at 5:55 p.m. Thank you, councillors and staff.